So I've decided to set myself a 30-day challenge, and that is to get creative for the next 30 or so days in a gentle way. I love 30-ish because we've got a busy time. You know, it's the Christmas season and we're all going away, but there's a bit of an invitation, if you so choose, to also get creative for the next 30 days. And I'd love to see how you get on. You may choose only to just do a shorter period of time, but yeah, so the idea is to get creative for 30 days. And okay, so why? Why? One is because it is a busy season, and it's quite good. I've found over the years it's quite good to have a little bit of a reason for something else when everything else is going crazy. It's like, oh well, yeah, I can't get too involved in that because, you know, I've got this 30-day challenge. So you know, have it up your sleeve as to the reason why. And look, it can be just a few minutes of a day, that's fine. And where it's actually coming from, it's from that research that Brene Brown did around creativity. And I don't know if any of you have seen, or she has a TED Talk more around shame, but I think there is another one around this topic that she didn't want to acknowledge that creativity was coming up in the research. So Brene Brown's a research storyteller. It's my kind of person, you know, with a bit of science and then a bit of story, you know, going in. And she'd done all this research and on why certain people were successful. Basically, that was the basic thing that she was looking at, and she wanted to know. And what came up in the research, she didn't want to know about. So I don't know whether this is actually true, but she actually put the research paper under a bed and just forgot about it. And the reason being, because she disagreed with what the research was telling her. She'd made some assumptions and she didn't like that the research was coming up and saying something different. And one of those assumptions was, oh, you had to work really, really hard to be, you know, at a, as she says, a job, as a job. And yeah, you know, it kind of really, you know, she didn't want to know that, you know, that actually part of being successful is also doing some creative pursuits, having some time for yourself. But it actually was coming up in the research that it wasn't just something nice to do for yourself. It was actually an essential part of being healthy and successful, was being creative every single day. Now that just blew me away. I'd been doing lots of creative things anyway. You know, was involved in a group called Arty Monday that kind of just evolved. And what we noticed just from our group is that we just had a lovely time all together. And, you know, we kind of stumbled upon this thing that we all felt so much better if we had come to Arty Monday. And so we'd kind of done, you know, we'd proved the concept ourselves, just by ourselves, not with science, but just without noticing it from ourselves. So, you know, I'm inviting you to bring it into consciousness around being creative every single day. And look, I'm just making a little book today. I got inspired by, I'm really sorry to this person. I will try and hunt them out. You know how things come up on YouTube, and it just caught me. He did this, a lovely Scandinavian man does this like seeding journals. And so that's what I've done here. I'll do a little bit of a flip through, but later. You know how you all end up with bits of artwork and, you know, jelly printing and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I've done here. I've found a whole load of bits of artwork from the past that, you know, don't really want anymore. And I've just put them and stuck them. So this is, and he calls this seeding the page, which is interesting. It's something that I've been doing for quite some time with the journals that I've been doing, the paper bag journals. And this is just made from I'll just show you. This one bag, and you take the base off, you cut the base off, and you're left with all this brown paper, right? And so the bones of this book is made with just sticking on bits of artwork, like you can see here, onto this brown paper. And over the next 30 days, and so there's a bit of an old journal that I had, some sketching I'd done, some neurographica I'd done, some note taking, that was actually from the Brene Brown course actually, and some jelly printing. So yeah, just last night I stuck it all together. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't actually film that part. That's probably like watching paint dry. I didn't want to put you through that. But yeah, and actually the other reason I didn't do it is because, you know, you do you. I love that saying. I've just heard that recently. You know, you do you. So this is just works for me. It was one paper bag. I'm curious about paper bags and how we can make use of them. And also I'm also curious, you know, I've lived in a sort of a more, well, I myself have been a solo mum, you know, had been a solo mum. I've now been married, I think 3 years. It's very wonderful. I'm very, very lucky to lovely Bob. But, you know, there was a time in my life where I didn't have a lot of resources, and so, but back in those days we only had plastic bags, and probably a little bit of my whole journey on adult facilitation and all that actually started with a paper bag. I'm quite fascinated. We have a women's centre here, and we had a program that was running, and the lady used a paper bag which she decorated. She had to bring them in from overseas, I think. It's crazy when you think about it now. So I'm really fascinated with using paper bags because they're affordable and we've all got them, you know. So that's why I am using paper bags. But in your case, you may have a beautiful journal that you haven't used, you know, you got it and you just want to use that, or it doesn't even need to be journaling. You'll see me, I've got an Instagram account, and you know, they've got YouTube and a little bit, I've got the Tracey Young Creative Facebook page as well. So, you know, any of those platforms you can sort of leave a photo, whatever you want to do, if you want to join this, and you can pick it up at any time. So anybody who's watching this who, you know, come at it a couple of years later, absolutely fine. It's just an invitation. A 30-day challenge to you, and the 30 days is stretchy, by the way. You know, you do your 30 days, you know, as I said, you do you. Yeah, and so it doesn't have to be in a little book or a journal. I've just been making some chutney actually, and so there'll be a bit around that as well. You know, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're being creative in a conscious kind of way over the next 30 days. Or your 30 days. And something that Brene Brown said that I had forgotten about, but when I was sort of doing a little bit of research for this session, oh golly, I'm having trouble with this knot here. This is a little bit of a Coptic stitch. You don't have to do this, you know. I'm just fascinated with how, you know, what I can do with a paper bag and how can you please use some of my artwork. But anyway, Brene Brown had said that you know, if we aren't being creative, you know, the research showed us that we need to be creative every single day. And if we aren't creative every single day, if we try and stuff it down and don't use our creativity in a conscious kind of way, it's not benign. And what she's meaning there is, like, it can make us unwell. And part of being well is being creative, being conscious, you know, being in the world, sharing your beautiful gifts, you know. It's like, you know, don't hide it, you know. Oh, that's kind of stunning, isn't it? I'm using I call this Patsy colour. We've got a dear friend, she's nearly in her 90s actually, and she loves that colour. And yeah, so I'm just trying to use things that I don't usually use, so and colours that I don't usually use. So there's some artwork, and there's a printing from when I turned 40. I gifted myself a year at art school, and that was one of the printing things that we did. I'm just going to check and line up. One thing I did do is I put these dots on so I can sort of semi-line up. So I'm a bit of a fan of, how's our timing going? Of using my good keen eye. Yeah, nothing's really that exact. You know, where it's important I will do exact, but if I don't have to, I think, you know, a bit of creative license is absolutely fine. I'm actually really pleased that I've managed to just do this with one bit of string too. That was pretty good. Well, how I did it was just measured my arm length and doubled over the cotton. So yeah. Anyway, so I might just leave it there. I know I've talked more than I wanted to, but I just wanted to set up and explain what this is all about. But anyway, please, you know, if you want to rise to the challenge, 30 days of being creative in a conscious way, knowing that this is so good for us, you know, and if you like, inspire a couple of friends as well. And yeah, so anyway, I'll see you another time.